Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. I welcome you all to our online teaching academy Ekalaiva. Today we are going to start with a new topic, that is competent host. Okay. Already I have seen how to transform the cells, how to prepare our rDNA and how that rDNA is introduced into the host cell. Okay. So when you are introducing your rDNA into our host cell, it is not that always our host cell will accept, will take our rDNA. Okay. So that host cell, it has to be made competent to receive our rDNA. So when you take our host cell, for example, for PBR322 already we have seen that E. coli is a host cell. Okay. So that E. coli, it is of two categories here, non-competent cell and the competent E. coli. Only the competent E. coli can take our rDNA. Okay. So the competent E. coli, see, you can see some difference in this outer wall of us E. coli. Okay. So this is non-competent, which is not going to allow our rDNA to enter this E. coli cell. Okay. And this E. coli cell, the same E. coli cell, made competent by some methods so that it is easy for our rDNA to get entry into our host cell. Okay. And today we are going to see how to make our host competent. Okay. And what is the necessity to make our host competent? When you see here, rDNA should enter the cell to transform the cell. Okay. Transformation is nothing but the entry of rDNA into the bacteria, into the host cell. Okay. So for that transformation to take place, rDNA should enter our host cell. See here, you all know that our DNA is hydrophilic in nature, and you know the structure of our, that is cell membrane. Okay. That is even the cell membrane of bacteria, it is made of a bilipid layer. So hydrophilic DNA, it is not that much easy for it to enter that bilipid layer. Okay, something had to take place to allow this DNA to enter into this E. coli cell, to enter, to gain entry through this cell membrane. Okay. So now we will see how to make the DNA, that is E. coli cell, to take our DNA. The first method what you are going to see is chemical treatment. Okay. Our host cell, it is chemically treated, it is treated with some chemicals to allow the entry of that rDNA into that host cell. See, the treating the host with the specific concentration of divalent cation. Okay, it is calcium. Okay, actually we will be taking it in the form of calcium chloride solution. Okay, so it is taken in that calcium chloride solution, then it is subjected to the treatment called heat shock treatment. Okay, first the host cell is taken in calcium chloride solution, then it is subjected to heat shock treatment. What is that heat shock treatment? When you see here, so here the bacterial broth, okay, that is the culture broth, which is in the log phase of its growth. Okay, it is taken and it is centrifuged. So when you centrifuge the culture broth, we will be getting a pellet which is containing our bacterial cells. Okay, here it is E. coli. So that pellet is taken in the calcium chloride solution. Okay, then this pellet, okay, it is chilled on ice. Okay, it is incubated using some ice. So that is at lower temperature. Okay. Then, so with the same time, when you are incubating the host in that lower temperature, you can add your rDNA along with this competent host, that is along with that host. Okay, then what you are doing now, it is the incubation temperature is increased. Is that clear? See, first we have taken a culture broth which is centrifuged to collect the pellet, that is bacterial cells, and the bacterial cells are suspended in the calcium chloride solution, which is incubated at the very low temperature with the help of ice. Then it is added with our rDNA. Then this combination of host and rDNA, it is changed to the temperature of 42 degrees Celsius, incubated at the temperature of 42 degrees Celsius. Few times they will repeat, keep on repeating this incubation, that is from lower temperature to higher temperature, from higher temperature to lower temperature. So when they are doing like this, what happens now, it is allowing our bacterial cell to take the rDNA. Okay, some pores will be created on the outer that is cell membrane of the cell, that E. coli, and that E. coli so comfortably it is taking our rDNA. So, this is our first method, that is chemical treatment. Okay. Then what are the other methods? Okay, what are the other methods used for making our host competent when you see? The second one is electroporation. Okay, just you have to take that E. coli, that is suspension of that culture of that E. coli. Okay, and it has to be subjected. Okay, it has to be a high voltage electricity is supplied through that culture broth. So, this electricity will create some pores. Okay, so this is a place where that pore is created due to that high voltage electricity, and our rDNA so comfortably it can gain entry into our bacterial cell. So, this is called electroporation. Okay. Then what is that next technique when you see? It is microinjection. Okay. In this microinjection, they will be taking a host cell. So, here this one is the host cell. Okay, this is our host cell, and this host cell with the help of this vacuum. Okay. So, with the help of vacuum pump, okay, it is held in position. The host cell is held in position, and by using a micro injection, this is called micro injection. You can see that it is injecting something. Okay, it is nothing but our rDNA. So, host cell it is held in position with the help of a vacuum pump. Okay, then the micro injection is bringing our rDNA, which is directly injected into our host cell. Okay, this is another method, and especially this micro injection it is used in animal cell. Okay, in IVF and all, okay, they are using this micro injection only. Okay, then the next method, next to that micro injection, we have something called biolistic or gene gun method. So, what they are going to do? Okay, actually I will show you that gene gun. See, this is that gun. Okay, what we are going to use? Okay, gene gun, the gun which is okay used for shooting our gene into the host cell. Okay, so how they are using this gene gun? When you see, the DNA is taken and it is coated on the surface of the gold or tungsten particles. Okay, the DNA is coated on the here. The host cell bombarded with high velocity microparticles of gold or tungsten. That gold or tungsten particles are coated with our DNA, and this gold or tungsten particle which are coated with our DNA, it is acting here as a bullet. It is acting here as a bullet which measures about 1 to 2 microns in size. Okay, it is acting as a bullet which is okay, which is acting as a bullet which is 1 to 2 microns in its size. Okay, and using this gene gun, okay, it has to be shot on a host cell with a speed of 1400 feet per second. Okay, the speed has to be maintained properly. If it exceeds then this limit, the DNA, there is a chance for a DNA to go out of our host cell. If the speed is less than this particular value, the DNA sometimes it cannot gain entry into the host cell. Okay, so this is how they are using this gene gun to introduce our DNA into the host cell. See, in this picture you can see directly with the help of gene gun, directly, okay, the DNA is introduced into the culture, and here you can see it is introduced into the plant. Okay, this is how gene gun is used for introducing our rDNA into our plant cell. Okay, and this DNA, that is gene gun method. It is specially used for introducing the genes into plant cell, whereas micro injection is used for animal cell. Then the last one, okay, already under cloning vectors you have seen this disarming pathogen. Okay, you have seen the examples of two things, that is Agrobacterium tumefaciens and retrovirus. Okay, So in these two cases, Agrobacterium tumefaciens, it is used for introducing the genes into our plant cell with the help of Ti plasmid, and retrovirus, it is used to introduce our DNA into animal cell. Okay. So these are the different methods what we are using for making our host competent. In addition to this micro injection, electroporation, and this biolistic or gene gun method, it is commonly called biolistic method. And this disarming pathogen and all, it can be otherwise called vectorless gene transfer. It is even without the use of cloning vector, an intact foreign gene can be directly introduced into the host cell using all this method. So we can call them as a vectorless gene transfer method also. To receive our online lesson, press subscribe button and you will receive the latest updates. Thank you, children.